Yeah. Come and never sleep on me. Eyes on my chain, 숙여 너의 고개를 what you looking at fool. 너의 눈 허리 멍청했고 find your comfort from another yeah. I go low like undercover yeah. Wanna know my name 죽지 않은 일은 위에 부어버려 기름 yes. You can even guess me cause I'm baby high low로 확실해 not like maybe Devil let me welcome to my palace 찾지 않아 Alice You just keep on wonder You just keep on wonder 찾지 않아 Alice 버려 너의 memory I just pop a bin Danny have been 나는 걸어 Boeing 747 날개 위
Welcome back, everybody. Colton, Caleb, how are you?
John, Caleb.
I'm good.
I too am good.
How are you guys?
Pretty good. So we come back once again to talk about our favorite secret agent. And of course, we're on the last of Roger Moore. We will be saying goodbye to Sir Roger in this one as we see him don the tuxedo one last time. So A View to a Kill, 1985. In my opinion, this is the weirdest Bond movie of all of them.
You think so?
I would not say
forever.
That's where my mind went to. The Man with the Golden Gun is a little weird. This one is weird. I'm not saying it's not weird, but I would not say it's the weirdest.
I think this one just retreads a bunch of other stuff.
Well, it's only a retread of Goldfinger. This is the 80s version.
I was gonna bring that up. It's very similar. The plot is very similar to Goldfinger.
Just updating the gold, the microchips.
Yeah. There's even a scene in the whatever you call it, the blimp, the Airbus, whatever, that's ripped right from Goldfinger.
So the pre-title sequence, y'all. Well, before that, we get our gun barrel, which I don't know. I just this was probably one of my least favorite gun barrels. It's just like it's blurry looking to me. Is the way it always looked.
Dude, I kind of thought the whole. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you this before we get too far. Was y'all's movie grainy?
In parts, not the whole time, but
to me, it just looks cheap. I've always thought this movie looked cheap, man. Like
it looks like it was shot on video.
Yes, I thought that too.
I mean that. If you think it might have been shot on video, or it could just be like a lesser quality copy. Because I didn't watch it on Amazon this week. I watched it on HBO Max, and I don't have like the highest subscription or whatever on there.
I watched
like it's a little thing.
I watched the Amazon version. It's supposed to be like upscaled to 4K or whatever.
Did it look clean?
No. It's got like 50-50. Like I was saying earlier, there were scenes that I was like, this seems a little grainy. Especially the pre-title sequence. And I thought it might have mostly to do with just how bright it was because they're shooting in snow, like they're, but there were some other parts that kind of, I wouldn't describe it as cheap, but definitely grainy looking.
So the pre-title sequence, the whole, we got Bond in the ice, out in the snow. What do y'all think about the snowboarding? Of course, this is back when snowboarding was new, a new thing.
So we get the whole ski stuff happening first, and I was like, here we go again, another James Bond ski sequence. I was like, this is like, how many times have we seen James Bond ski? We don't need this.
No, we do. We do need it.
I disagree. I disagree completely. But then he starts snowboarding, and I was like, this is a fresh take. I really like this. I think it's really cool. I just wished it wasn't Roger Moore doing it because it's not young, hip Roger Moore. It's old, broken hip Roger.
Oh, don't worry. It's not Roger Moore doing it.
No, I'm just saying, like,
I know.
it's
I
idea-wise, it's his character or whatever.
yeah, I get what you're, but I'm just glad that he's actually wearing something appropriate in this one.
Oh yeah, like it's not Ronald McDonald colors.
He's not dressed like a Happy Meal.
It is a good point. I'll concede.
I've already mentioned this to you guys. The only gripe that I have is the Beach Boys track that plays. Dude, what's that?
That's not even the Beach Boys. It's a Beach Boys cover band.
Well,
Wow.
Okay, then my opinion is null and void.
So who's the Beach Boys cover band?
I don't know what they're called, but I can't remember. But yeah, that's actually not even the real Beach Boys.
Okay, well, I apologize for my inaccuracy.
Oh no,
of that statement. Well, but I was just gonna say, like, it just kind of it took me out of the movie for a second. But dude, it's like for 2.5 seconds. It's not enough to ruin the sequence for me. I dig this sequence from beginning to end. Like, I liked it.
I agree with you. I mean, it's goofy, but it never has really. It never has hurt it for me. I mean, to me, it's just like that's part of the Roger Moore era of Bond movies. You know what I mean?
Right.
Got it.
Well, I will say that in my head canon, it's Bob Simmons out there snowboarding. Like, I don't think it is, but Bob Simmons worked on this movie, and this is Bob Simmons' final Bond film. So, because he dies after this one, so he didn't get to work on the next.
They need to make a movie about Bob Simmons.
Oh, they do.
You know,
they need to.
Absolutely. So this is unrelated, but I do want to ask real quick because I don't know. In The Living Daylights, which is the next movie, is that where Vic Armstrong comes on? Or
is he like a stunt coordinator or stunt director?
He is the stunt double for Brosnan. I know.
I have no idea, dude. Like,
okay, I didn't mean to derail the.
No,
I just.
But anyway, so let's talk about the title sequence of the movie. So I think this is one of the laziest title sequences, but the song is so peak.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
This is probably my favorite Bond song. I'm gonna be straight with you. I mean,
this is number one for you.
This or The Living Daylights by Aha is probably my favorite.
Wow.
Like, I mean,
so I totally get it, John. This is a banger. Like, this song is definitely in my top 5 for Bond songs.
Yes.
And The Living Daylights is my favorite Bond song.
Like, you know, I kind of put these two they're kind of similar. You know, they're both like kind of new wave, kind of, you know, electronic rock from the 80s, you know.
Yeah, got a lot of synth going on.
Yeah, synth rock, you know, and I mean, I dig it, man. I'm all about some synth rock, dude.
Like, this movie and the next movie, I just love how they take these two songs and incorporate the music in the score. Like,
yes,
it is amazing.
That is a huge thing for me. I think that's what brings this movie up a lot for me, is because the instrumental version of this song, or the way that you worded it best, the way they incorporate it in the soundtrack, it is so good. It works so well.
The score.
I agree. Yeah. I would like to say something too. It seemed like it would be to this film's detriment to you, but I really liked I know it's cheap, and I know it's just like a retread of a bunch of other Bond like title sequences, but like I liked how it started up. A girl opens her shirt and 007's on her chest. I was like, hey man, it's sleazy, but it's very Roger Moore, and I'll dug it.
It's very James Bond at this point.
Yeah.
There's something else I say. What about the iceberg submarine?
Dude, I thought that was so cool.
It's goofy, but
dude,
I like it.
Dude, I want a model of that thing, like to be in the bar, like I want a corgi iceberg submarine. Okay, like
I will say this as far as Bond's modes of transportation go. I will take this over the gondola because this actually blends in.
hey, you're right.
So,
It's practical as long as you don't have the hatch open.
Yeah.
you're right, which is a Union Jack.
Yeah.
Sticks out like a sore thumb. Keep that closed and you're good.
Hey,
It's like
Just don't ever get out.
like there's a dealership at the North Pole where you can go and buy those, and the flags are just interchangeable. Like
Yeah.
they got all the different ones.
Can I get a rebel flag?
I'm sure you could get the stars and bars, Caleb.
And I want an orange.
Oh yeah,
The
An
iceberg.
orange
I want the
iceberg.
iceberg and orange.
So after the title sequence, so what do you think about the whole setup of the movie? We've got microchips. We got Zorin. What do y'all think about Zorin?
I was expecting a lot from Christopher Walken, and I guess as an actor, he hasn't become a parody of himself yet at this point.
Yeah.
So I didn't like him.
Oh, really?
Maybe-
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not saying he's a bad villain, and he's not, and I'm not saying he's a bad actor because he's not.
You just wanted more.
I just wanted more out of him.
That's fair.
Well, he's a genetically enhanced KGB agent, and he doesn't even fist fight Bond. He doesn't pick anybody up. He doesn't show any feats of strength or enhanced modifications. He just shoots people.
I feel like we
Very
probably.
poorly.
I'm sorry. What?
He just shoots people very poorly. Like
We probably would have seen a more physical side had Roger Moore been in better shape. I think.
well, Roger was fighting other people in the movie.
Right. Which. Okay, that is a good point, but it's like.
But if you notice, the guys he's fighting throughout the movie are like older looking dudes. They're not like young guys. They're like
Fair enough.
I'm talking
maybe
about the
that's
dudes
it.
that he put in on the conveyor belt thing.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I'm talking
love
about?
that sequence. Yeah,
Well, like,
But I
older
do
dudes-
agree. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I do agree. It would have been nice to see a genetically enhanced KGB agent hand to hand with Bond.
I think so too. Like,
Yeah. So pretty much the microchip that Bond got off the dead at 009, or what was it? Was it 008 that they found in the
I thought it was 003.
Oh, maybe it was 003. Maybe it was 003. Anyway, the
I did not like how they just left him. I know Bond couldn't have carried him down the mountain, but like, if somebody just left James Bond's non-eviscerated corpse somewhere, didn't give him a burial or whatever, I'd be very upset.
yeah. And,
Well, this guy, the 003 doesn't have his own movie franchise, so it's fine.
Not in our universe.
Okay.
anyway, so they take the microchip and figure out that it can withstand electromagnetic pulse, which leads it to Zorin. So they go to Ascot with the horse racing scene. So what do y'all think about the horse racing scene? I will say this. The MI6 people here, M and Q and Moneypenny and Bond, they all look like a senior citizen center decided to go out and go to the races one day. They all look so old. Like, good Lord, it shows so bad here.
Even Zorin's wearing the stupid top hat. Like, is that what they wore?
I guess.
1985 to the Derby?
Yeah. But
I did not even consider that, but dude, that is perfect.
this just looks like they just look so old, guys. Like,
Yeah.
every time I watch it, it just looks like just some bunch of old people going to.
Yep.
I have one more, other than what they're wearing, I had one more thing I wanted to say about Zorin. he's played a villain, not yet, but he will play a villain in other movies. And like even in Batman Returns, I think he handles being a villain better than he does being a villain in this movie.
Really?
He's not a great villain in either movie for me, but I think he does it better in that movie. Maybe it's because it's closer to being a Christopher Walken parody. But
I I think it's fine to have your own opinion, but that's just wrong. Like
you didn't like him at all in Batman Returns?
I don't no, I'm saying he's a great villain in this movie.
Yeah, like I truly do think he's a great villain in this movie too. Like
I'm joking entirely. No,
no,
I do.
I truly do believe he's a great villain.
Oh no. I'm yes, I think he's a great villain, but I'm joking with Colton. Like your opinion is not wrong. I'm being an asshole.
No, I didn't mean that.
Go ahead.
So I'm not saying he's not. He does villain like things, but like he has other people do all his stuff. Like we get more out of. Go ahead.
That is true, but man, the mine scene.
Okay. I will give you. The mine scene is messed up, and that's probably his best.
So
like his most messed up thing.
Okay, so
I'm not saying he's not evil.
I want to say this about Zoran. Like, I think Zoran is like, whenever we talk about the genetically modified, I don't necessarily think about him being like a Superman. I think about him being like extremely like deranged and like, genius level intellect is what I think.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason I was thinking more enhanced in other ways is because right after that scene and they talk about it, Gogol shows up and then like Mayday shows her super strength and picks up the other KGB agent. So I'm like, if she's got super strength, how strong is he?
Yeah.
Well, that scene where they're sparring, he overpowers her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
we could have gotten more as far as his display of strength. Other than that, I'll give you that. I would have wanted. Well, I would have taken more. But I don't know. I don't mind it. I don't need to see him throwing people around.
Yeah.
I just want to see him pick Bond up by the crotch and throw him across the room.
Yes, we have been lacking that in the past couple of movies.
And it's probably because Roger's old, like you said.
But anyway, so pretty much when they're here at the racetrack, like the guy that's sitting along with Bond, Sir Godfrey Tibbett, what do y'all think about him?
I like his character.
Yeah, I love this character. Like,
I like his interactions with Bond a lot.
What?
Yeah.
I like his interactions with Bond a lot. He's like, when Bond sends him to town, he's like, what do you want me to tell him? He's like, tell him you have to wash the car. He's literally washing the car.
Okay. Hey, dude, Bond could have come up with literally anything else. The only reason he said that is because he saw him actively washing the car.
He is such an asshole.
Yes. But I don't have a lot to say about this character other than like I really like him.
Yeah.
He's a great ally to Bond.
Yeah.
But what I do want to say, since this is the last Roger Moore Bond film, is I was thinking like a couple, or maybe it was the last movie. I was like, man, we ain't seen Felix in a while.
Yeah.
But I was like, but it's kind of made room for these other allies that are great. I love all of the allies in these movies. They're awesome.
Yeah, we only see Felix in one Roger Moore movie.
Yep. Live and let die.
Yep.
So anyway, go ahead.
Oh, like I said, it's kind of opened the door for characters like Tibbett and VJ, and so it's cool.
So pretty much, they pretty much know that Zoran's horse is being drugged. So they get sent to Zoran's house undercover, and we get some funny little interactions like Colton was talking about between Bond and Tibbet whenever they're there. You know, they're undercover. Bond's name is what is it? James St. John Smythe or something like that.
St. John Smythe.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
And so I like the part whenever like they had recorded snoring. What you
Yeah.
know that part?
Mm. They let the tape recorder playing in the room.
Yeah. And some of the things that like Bond and this girl are saying, like the girl's like, "My name is Jenny Flex," and Bond's like
I'm sure it is.
yeah, I'm sure here's something like that. So
It's like, damn, Jay.
Yeah.
like I remember Michelle and I was watching this movie for the first time. Like this has been a while ago, and some of the things Moore was saying here, Michelle was like, "Jonathan." I was like, "Yeah, I know it's a little bit,
Man,
Has
I
she
like.
never seen that one with you? Sorry,
Huh?
Caleb. I said, has she never seen that one with you?
Seen what?
A View to a Kill.
Dude, Michelle's seen all the Bond movies, dog.
Okay.
I,
I just
I
didn't know
think
if
I
you
think he
watched
was
that
asking in that instance, was that the first time she had watched it with you?
Oh yeah, that was the first time.
Okay.
I like to think that all of those lines like that you were referring to were ad-libbed. I don't know if they were, but I would love that if it come out like Roger Moore was just saying shit.
So we come up on the scene that I was talking about earlier. Whenever Bond and Tibbet fight, and I like, what about Bond in his stealth gear? That just black tracksuit, like a Fila tracksuit. That's what they're wearing.
Yeah, it pulls it off.
Yeah, and
It was very 80 for sure.
yes, it like the most '80s thing I've ever seen Roger Moore do. You know what I mean?
He was
This
probably
movie,
really comfortable in it.
Oh yeah, well he said he really liked him actually. Say he loved tracksuits.
this movie is very of its time, even the plot with the microchips. So you kind of have to look at it through that lens. But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I'm fine with the tracksuit.
Tracksuits
Yeah, I
all.
didn't mind it.
But anyway, but yeah, I was talking about earlier the fight here. This fight, it is. I just don't know about this fight, guys.
It's very clunky.
It's
very.
to me, it's almost like A View to a Kill has always reminded me of like a TV movie. Is the
Yeah.
vibe I always got out of A View to a Kill. Like it's just like I don't know. This fight just screams like it screams no direction. Like just they're just like trying to look like they're doing something.
It's like they did not have a storyboard
Yeah,
or anything
like
for this section of the script. They were just like,
or even like a
just
fight coordinator or anything, like just
in the script, it was just like this section that was blank with in parentheses Bond fights, and that's it. So they show up on set and they're like, well, just I don't know, start swinging your arms.
But
Kick to the sternum.
So what about Bond winding up in Mayday's bed? He's like, Mayday, where have you been?
So doesn't she say, "I'll take care of you later" or something? And then like Bond's way of getting out of it is waiting for her in her bed. And then like Max, she like looks at Max, and Max is like, "Go ahead, sleep."
Yeah, like go ahead.
Her sleeping with him does nothing but keeps him busy for the rest of the night.
I'm gonna be straight with you. This is the most awkward scene, like of any Bond movie. It is so weird. Like I remember watching this like with my wife, and I was like, God, this really is a weird scene. Like we got Roger Moore and Grace Young. Grace Jones, Grace Young. Who's that?
Yeah, I was very uncomfortable in this scene. I think that's got a lot to do with like some of the behind the scenes stuff that was going on. Apparently, Roger Moore and Grace Jones did not get along that well.
That's
And
why
I think that was sort of, seeping through the screen during that scene.
And of course, the next morning, what was it? Christopher Walken, Matt Zorin asks Bond, says, how did you sleep last night or something? And Bond's like, a little stiff,
Yeah.
but I got off eventually. Like, just, it's like, good Lord, guys, why is the script so horny all the time? Like,
very, very on the nose. Whoever wrote the Man with the Golden Gun, they must have brought him back, and they were like, "Can you horn up the script a little bit?"
I want to ask.
Go ahead. What, Colton?
What's Grace Jones famous for? Just this movie?
She's a musician and an actor or actress.
Okay. What other movies has she been in? You guys know?
I have no idea, man.
So I can look real quick.
Well, no, it's not that important for the pod. I was just wondering because, I swear I've seen her somewhere else. And she plays her role really good. Like, she's really menacing and stuff. I was just wondering because, I swear I've seen her somewhere else before.
Other than the bed scene, yeah, I do. I like her. I like her character.
I like her character too.
She's a great hench woman.
Well, one thing I do want to go back, but we skipped this. The Eiffel Tower sequence.
Oh, yeah.
What about Bond jacking a car? He GTA's this car. You know what I mean? Like,
he destroys it. I completely forgot about the whole section of the movie.
I love this car chase. Like,
it was good.
Well, for some reason, I was thinking that was after the horse. The whole horse sequence. What have we got there?
I've got the taxi.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's kind of big.
Yeah.
But I love the Eiffel Tower jump. That's awesome. I love the car chase
Sorry, Caleb. I thought you were. Go ahead.
What? I love the car chase. I love the car breaking in half, even though it's clearly still accelerating, even though the fuel tank is detached, and also the drivetrain is also, that there's stuff going on mechanically that should not be going on. So, but other than that, it's fine. Like, it's still cool.
So had anybody else been driving that car, it wouldn't work like that. But
no.
It's just because it was James Bond. I'll allow it.
That's what got That's what got 003 killed. He couldn't manipulate stuff.
He couldn't manipulate just the top half of his body.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
What was I gonna? I don't care what Bond did. Like, by the time he got down to the ground and started doing all that stuff, she would have already landed somewhere. She wasn't gonna. There's no way it took her that long to parachute down.
I don't know. Well, I guess I'd have to rewatch it, but I never really thought about that. Never thought
She's
about
up there forever.
Yeah, I guess so. And also, you got to take into consideration that Roger Moore's 80 in this movie, and it takes him a long time to walk downstairs.
Did he walk downstairs? I don't remember how he got downstairs.
I don't
know. He was downstairs.
Jonathan, did you roll your eyes when I said that?
Oh, I didn't.
Okay, it looks like you rolled your eyes.
No,
but real quick, speaking of Roger Moore's age, I don't think it would have been as apparent had he not gotten a facelift prior to shooting this movie.
Dude, he looked fine in Octopussy. Like, he looked good. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, you could tell he was. He obviously was not a young man, but dude, I mean, he looked good.
He was a handsome older man.
I don't know what they did to my boy in this one, but like,
It gave him real bad turkey neck, like really bad, and like
I feel like it. Go
sorry,
ahead.
Kelly. Well, it doesn't help that half the shots in this movie are side shots. Like half the shots in this movie have Bond, like it's bad, and it's not. Roger's great, man. I think the world of Roger after watching all his movies. But it was not flattering towards him at all.
No,
No,
not at all.
I always think like, okay, well, you can find an infinite amount of examples where plastic surgery, facelift, whatever the case may be, is not perfect, but juxtapose that to what they would have looked like, without it. And you might say, okay, well, even though it's not perfect, they look better. In this case, I don't think he does look better than he would have had he not gotten it. So I'm with Jonathan. I don't know why they felt the need to do that.
I don't think he needed to.
But to wrap up the Eiffel Tower sequence, I think it doesn't end with him falling through and landing on the cake and all that. This is where it really stuck out to me that they are not trying that hard to hide the fact that Roger Moore is being doubled.
Yeah.
Because when he falls, when he falls through the ceiling of the boat, lands on the cake, like
no,
it's so evident. That pretty much wraps it up for me. Unless Colton, you got anything else to add to the?
So I just love how absolutely pissed those bakers were after he destroys the cake. But I absolutely love how Bond turns around and hands him the top of the cake. Like, that's the most like, here, man, I completely destroyed your cake, but congratulations. You just had James Bond crash your wedding.
This is the second wedding that this Bond, Roger Moore's Bond, has crashed. Literally crashed.
Do any other Bonds do that in the franchise?
Well, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I think this is the last one, unless I wouldn't count License to Kill because they didn't really mess anything up. They just showed up for it.
Yeah, they showed up late.
Well,
just in time if you think about it.
Sure. So no, I wouldn't consider that. Yeah, I think this is the last one that Bond just destroys.
So going back to where we were at, which was like right when Roger Moore was going to get on a horse for Zorin. And Zorin's got the course set for him, and you know what I mean? Like some of the obstacles. Yeah. I do not think this is exciting, really. It's just kind of like, it's like, guys, I mean, really?
Yeah. I felt that way too. It's like they added this because they felt like they had to.
And the next thing you see, after he's, going through the obstacle course, we do find Tibbet's car, which, by the way, I don't think we've talked about. The Rolls Royce is actually Cubby Broccoli's.
That's right. Yep.
But anyway, we find Tibbet, who is unfortunately dead. And I love it whenever Bond tells Zorin, he says killing Tibbet was a mistake, and then Zorin says, "I'm about to make the same mistake twice." You know what I mean?
I was really waiting for him to be like, "I'm about to make the same mistake twice." He did not. I was really disappointed.
I think that's what I said with a soldering iron.
So what do y'all think about the way Bond gets out of this with sucking the air out of the tire?
I think is really smart. Like I liked it a lot. I don't know how it actually work. Like he'd have to push really hard with his tongue.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because you've got to have something rigid to press up against the check valve.
Yeah,
to release air.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, I think I've seen that MythBusters episode where they try that and it doesn't work. But
it is the 80s. Everybody had a Coke nail.
Hey, that's right. You're right. Yeah.
Just see old Roger Moore over there with a Coke now, just ruining it for you guys.
But as far as this universe is concerned, I buy it.
Yeah.
I
Oh
still
yeah.
I
Definitely.
still think it's a really cool thing. Like, so yeah, I have no issues with that scene. I really like it. I like the dialogue prior to that scene, where Bond and Zoran are talking, and Zoran goes, "You amuse me, Mr. Bond." Like, just that dialogue exchange there
Yes.
is really nice.
Yes, I do too. So we can also talk about the scene of when Zoran is basically showing his shareholders his his plan, and this is of course ripped right from the book of Goldfinger. I mean, right from the movie of Goldfinger.
Yep.
Very Goldfinger-esque scene.
I mean, it's like if you were to copy, it's like they copy and pasted that sequence.
Instead of Operation Grand Slam, it's Operation Main Strike. And his plan is to blow up the San Andreas fault, right? And that will flood Silicon Valley. And he will have the monopoly on microchips. So I have to say, I do enjoy this little plot. So Bond goes to San Francisco, and we see him meet what's the guy's name? Chuck Lee, CIA agent. And this is another time. I mean, I like Chuck Lee. Don't get me wrong, but why is it not Felix Leiter? Like, why is Felix not here?
Yeah.
I mean,
probably because they want that emotional. They want to like get some emotion from you from them killing somebody close to Bond. The only thing is like he's not that close to Chuck Lee. He just met him. He probably doesn't even give a shit.
He's probably like, all right, like, well,
he's like,
I don't mean to bog us down, but I do want to ask y'all. Do y'all know what the original plot was? It's not much different than what we get, but the means by which Zoran planned on blowing up the San Andreas fault. Do you know what his original plan was?
Was it Halley's Comet?
Yeah, he was planning on changing the course of Halley's Comet, changing the path so that it landed in such a way to blow up the fault line. And I'm so glad that they did not use that, because that's
like, just while you are on the subject, I love learning about the unused scripts. Like, I'm like a total nerd for stuff like that, dude. Like,
sure, yeah, me too.
That stuff.
Yeah, like, but with that being said, what we got is a lot better. Even though, yeah. You could argue that this plot is a little convoluted and a little far fetched, but like it's very consistent with James Bond. It's very consistent with what we've got and what we will get in subsequent movies. So,
I still don't think it's as complex as Octopus is. No, a lot straighter than. But so anyway, Bond.
I had something to say about the Halley's Comet. So if they had went with the Halley's Comet plot and Bond stopped it, Max Zorin could have been like, Mr. Bond, now I'm gonna have to wait 75 more years to redo my plan.
Yep.
Hey, and he's genetically modified, so he probably could wait another 75 years.
And we could only hope Roger Moore would have lasted to make that sequel. We know he hasn't.
He probably would have had to get another facelift, but I think he would have.
Right.
So oh, you're good. You're good. So whenever we're in San Francisco, this is when we meet old Chuck Lee. He tells us about Zoran. He was a product of Nazi experiments, and he's been hanging out with that old Nazi doctor guy, the guy that Bond met while at the chateau. That weird looking, yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
So,
they make it very clear that he is a what do you call it? Just a messed up
yeah,
mad scientist type.
mad scientist. Yeah.
Yes, the way they just the way they made him appear like is very almost cartoonish.
Start like a stereotype of it. Like,
Right.
I
Yep.
mean, the monocle alone.
yes.
That is what really hammers it home for me is the monocle.
Like, especially at the end of the movie when it gets knocked out and he's like rubbing it off where he puts it back on.
And then he puts it in the wrong guy.
Maybe he probably did.
I don't know if he did.
Well, anyway, Bond does a little bit of spying at an oil rig, and he runs into some Russians there. And of course, one of them gets killed. But Bond goes and meets with the other one, which is apparently some woman he's known before. You know what I'm talking about, right? Paula
Yeah.
Ivanova, the Russian girl in the Japanese bath thing.
The
Yeah.
bathhouse.
I'll be honest. I was trying really hard to remember if we had met her in a prior movie.
We have.
And
it was originally
I was like,
Triple X.
Yep. Yeah, I read that. But yeah, obviously, okay, so she hasn't been in any of the previous movies. And I was like, well, is this the chick that was in the iceberg submarine with Bond? No. So, like, this is just a new character. Like, I really wish it would have been Triple X.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He could have made fun of her way she drove a Corvette. Sorry, John.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, she could have like got behind the wheel of the Corvette and not been able to drive it. He could have made fun of her for that.
But obviously, this is some girl from another unseen adventure that we've not been privy to.
It was a novel.
Yeah.
Short story, probably. Yeah.
But anyway, so pretty much Bond pulls a switcheroo on her and takes the information tape while leaving the one like what's the Japanese music, and of course General Gogol is here.
I genuinely laughed out loud when they were in the car and General Gogol hits play on the tape and it starts playing, and they look at each other like
yeah,
that was so funny.
So Bond then goes and finds old Stacy Sutton. So what do you think about Stacy Sutton?
I was gonna make a joke last episode. I said I started to say like I'm gonna watch this movie on mute, but then like I thought, well, Colton hasn't seen this movie, he won't get it, and Jonathan looks like he's about to pass out, so I'm just not gonna. What I was the punchline was gonna be because of Stacy.
Yes,
like I do appreciate her in the movie, but her screaming James over and over and over, God, dude, it's like nails on a chalkboard, man.
Yep, I agree.
That's my only gripe with her. Other than that, she's a good Bond girl, I think.
I mean, she looks good, but like she's loud.
She's very, very, very pretty. But okay, I'll say this as well. She kind of slows down the plot a little bit because Bond is constantly having to stop and turn around and help her, like, because she's constantly falling in holes and through and down elevator shafts. So
have y'all ever watched that 70s show?
Yeah.
Well, this is their.
Is she Donna's mom?
Yes.
Oh my God.
That makes so much sense now.
Holy dude.
Andrew Roberts.
Wow.
Unrelated. I was watching Star Trek, I think Star Trek 5 the other day. Red Foreman's in that one.
Really?
Yeah.
It took me forever to realize this, but and y'all know, I'm sure RoboCop. Red Foreman's the bad guy in RoboCop.
Man, I have not seen that movie in years, but I believe you.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, like it's been literal years.
Okay, yeah. When I realized that, I sort of had the same reaction as just now when I found out that what's her name, Tanya Roberts is in that '70s show. It's like,
Slap in the face like that.
yes, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it's like.
You're expecting it.
Mhm.
So pretty much, Bond enters Stacy's house and pretty much breaks in. She kind of comes at him with a shotgun, one that we later find out is obviously a salt shotgun. But Bond fends off the goons that are hired by Zorin to make her try to sell her land.
That's him. Yeah, dude, thank God there was a stunt double there. Or Roger Moore would have been screwed now. But dude, man, it's so obvious in these things, but it sounds like I'm complaining. I'm not. Like, it's fine. It's just, man, it's like at this point, the filmmakers were like, look, the audience knows that we're using stunt doubles. Like at this point, we don't have to hide. We don't have to hide his face. I like the vase gag. That was kind of funny.
I'm sorry, grandfather.
Yeah, and I think it's funny that Bond is constantly trying to save it,
Yes.
and then he hands it to Stacy like, "Look, hold on to this so I can take care of these guys." And then she's like, "Oh, screw it," and just hands that guy over the head. That was funny.
That was funny. That's a good part. So Bond and her go to well, hold up. Before I say that, by the way, I do like how Bond makes a quiche here. That's very Fleming-esque.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so then they go to the City Hall.
That's him.
Well, before we even get there, I would like to say that I loved Bond using a shotgun again.
Yes.
I thought that was really cool.
I just hate that it was loaded with rock salt, man.
Yeah, but then if it had him in rock salt, he wouldn't have had to fight those guys, and we would have not got the vase theme. So.
Dude, if it hadn't have been rock salt, this would have got a different rating.
Would have been a massacre, man.
This movie would have been R-rated.
They're like,
Yeah.
house.
Shoot, yeah, Stacy would have been traumatized.
So
after all that, she still thought he was a journalist too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, we do get 2 kills here. We get Chuck Lee getting killed by Mayday, and also Zorin kills Stacy's boss at the City Hall, or City Hall, or is that the courthouse? What is it?
I think it's City. I think it is City Hall. I think you're right.
So pretty much they set the building on fire. So Bond and this is probably the worst part of the movie for me.
Yeah.
Them trying to get out of City Hall, like just the screams and over and over and over. It gets a little bit old.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have this part of the movie, John, the lyrics to the "A View to a Kill" "Dancing in the Fire," it wouldn't be accurate. This is what makes that song accurate.
I don't care. The song can be as inaccurate as it wants to be.
Hey, Colton, that was the fire they were talking about.
Yeah, that was the fire they were dancing into.
Fire.
Well, they weren't dancing though, so I don't get it.
They were dancing with death, Caleb.
Ah. Okay.
Anyway. Yeah, like this is one of my least favorite parts of the movie. But I will say this, they make up for it because I really, really love, I don't care what anybody says about this, I love James Bond on a fire truck. Like, it's wild, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is a little wild. There were parts of this that I really like, and there were parts that I didn't. Um, man, I hate when these movies do this. They will put Bond in these situations where it could have been easily avoided. You know what I mean? Stacy being
Yeah.
incompetent and swinging Bond on the ladder or whatever. I'm not. We did get some cool stuff from it. I will grant it that, but it's like I think he could have thought of another way to get Bond in that situation, right? Um, but other than that, yeah, I do like the sequence, and apparently there are some shots of Roger actually operating the I guess the rear end of the fire truck because at one point he was a truck driver before
Really?
his acting career took over. Yeah, look, I read this on IMDb, so take it with a grain of salt. I don't know if it's true, but I I will choose to believe that it is true. So
And we get the San Francisco version of Sheriff J.W. Pepper here, just a bumbling sheriff.
Yep.
What's up, Katie?
What do you think about A View to a Kill?
Katie, what do you think about A View to a Kill?
She didn't have to sit through it, boys.
Oh,
She missed this one. I'll make her watch The Living Daylights with me next week, and we'll bring her on.
Good.
did you like that one?
Katie just made me a homemade pizza for all our listeners up there.
Yo,
Look
dude,
at
that
that.
looks fire.
Yeah, it does look fire.
Give me a little bite. Give me a little bite.
Yeah,
I
hey,
got you, dude. Little bite, Caleb. You got
dude,
two ladders, so you're on camera.
Dude, this shit's fire.
But pretty
I would
much.
like to say,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, John.
Oh no, it's all you. It's all you.
Okay. So, like the way you guys are talking about the city hall scene, not liking it and everything, the way he plans out dude's murder and tells James, "It's good. You're going to be taking the fall for this guy's murder." He sets it up perfectly, and he even makes it to where the mayor or whoever calls the law, and then he kills him. He's like, "But I would have to be dead." Like, this is probably the smartest Max Zorin is in the movie, other than having the guns ready to shoot his own people.
Yeah.
And I like the elevator. I like the elevator scene, other than her being annoying, like yelling so much. Like, she's a damsel. Like, I get it. Like, she plays on it too hard, but at the same time, with this sequence, like whenever James gets her out, him being able to pull her up with the fire hose shows James's feats of strength, and then he carries her out, and a fireman's carry down that ladder. Like, that takes a lot of strength too. So I thought it was kind of cool in subtle ways. I get it's not the best part of the movie, but I kind of liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, I did forget about that scene where he's carrying her down the ladder. I liked that part.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
You know what?
I still don't like it, but but I appreciate your take. No, that I do really like that part where he's carrying her down the ladder. Like, that was like, I don't know, it was suspenseful.
Especially when he slips.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a really heroic moment, I guess.
Which that's what I mean. I know he's an assassin, but I mean, really, that's what James Bond is to all of us now, right?
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
He's a hero, right?
Yeah, and I actually, now that I think about it, we don't get a lot of that. Like, and it's nice to see every once in a while. I think it might be cheapened if we got it all the time, and it wouldn't be as cool.
Yeah, he would look more like a superhero than
Sure,
a
but
spy.
but like that sort of thing, Bond heroically carrying her down the ladder, juxtaposed with him being a cold assassin, is I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna get somebody to pull that off, I think Roger's your guy.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
Also, I like how he shoots the cop with the fire hose to get away.
Yeah.
He didn't move, but he pulls it off.
So
Hey, again, Roger Moore's Bond.
Yes.
Yeah.
so after all the shenanigans in San Francisco, we wind up at the mine, and of course, Bond and Stacy Dawn, construction worker, get up and then go into the mine. A lot of stuff happens here in these mines. One, Max Zorin pretty much betrays literally everyone besides Scarpine. There's that one guy that's with him. Like Max Zorin decides to just massacre everyone. So I'm gonna be straight with you. This whole scenes with Max Zorin and the Uzi just mowing down people, that is some wild stuff, man. Like,
dude, I like it.
yeah, it's definitely.
I know it's morbid, and even Roger Moore has said that he hates this scene.
Yep.
And I think other people have made comments sort of to the effect that like, oh, this isn't like what James Bond is about, whatever. But it's like, it kind of is though. You know, like Bond's taking down some evil guys. Like that, if they weren't pieces of shit, why would Bond be going? You know, so I don't know. But before we get too far, I wanna backtrack just a touch. Whenever they get those outfits, did you catch that line that Bond says to Stacy?
What do you say?
He says, shame you couldn't find one that fits. That was ad-libbed, and I'll explain why. So, Tanya Roberts apparently threw a huge fit about her costume not, being flattering to her figure.
Yeah.
And she would not perform the scene until the costume designer tailored one to her figure. And so Roger Moore being an asshole, uh when it came time to shoot that scene, he improvised that line, and the director wanted to leave it in because I guess he was so aggravated by her being hard to deal with.
Yes.
That's pretty funny.
Yep.
I didn't know that, and
I know it either.
I just made that up. It's not true.
Get out of here, Caleb.
No, I did read it on IMDb, so who knows?
I always forget about the Internet Movie Database when it comes to looking up information for films.
So you forget about it whenever you are doing what it's literally made for? Like whenever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was on Wikipedia looking at stuff earlier. I could have just went to the Internet Movie Database. Like,
well, here's the thing. I do like using IMDb, but like,
hey, it's the Internet Movie Database.
Yeah, Caleb, say it right.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Internet Movie Database. No. I do like using this, but it's sort of like Wikipedia in the sense that like I think anybody can edit it. So I'm careful about reading like the trivia because I don't want it to come across as fact because I don't know if it is or not. But I do like throwing it out there just in case it is, I guess.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Caleb, if anybody is anal enough to go back and check some of our facts sometimes, it'll lead them down the same rabbit hole that led you to the Internet Movie Database. And then they'll be like, oh, it's here. It must be true.
Internet Movie Database.
Internet Movie Database.
Anyway, so
Jesus Christ.
So pretty much
it's Jason Bourne.
Jesus Christ.
It's Jason Bourne.
Anyway, let's get back. So Max Zorin pretty much floods his own mine, which makes it to where Bond and Tracy and Mayday, or I mean, I said Tracy, Stacy, Bond, Stacy, and Mayday are all trying to get out. Of course, this is when Mayday realizes, hey, I've been screwed over. And this is when she makes it her life's mission to mess up what Zoran's got going on, which leads to her riding the bomb out of the cave, and she dies in an explosion.
She's the hero of this movie.
I mean, she did literally.
She saved everybody.
Yeah, she did.
I haven't said much about her. Go ahead, John.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't do it out of the goodness of her heart. You know, she would have gladly let them people die if he didn't betray him. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It was it was more out of revenge. But dude, was Bond like straight up fixing to sacrifice himself? Because when she's trying to pull him up with the bomb, he's like, what does he say? Like, let me jump off first or something, like it's too heavy. And she's like, no, and keeps pulling him up. So like Bond was fixing to straight up die right here.
This is like the most heroic Bond movies. Like,
I think it is. But dude, I love this team up, and I was not expecting to like this part.
Yeah.
Like y'all know how I feel about Jaws having a 180, like change of character, change of heart, whatever you want to call it.
Well, I mean, at least with Mayday, you know why she's doing it. She's scoring.
Exactly. That's why I like this so much, because like there's a clear motivation as to why she's doing it.
I mean, she thought she was in love, and he didn't care.
Well, I think it's just because James Bond really persuaded her the other night, and she finally just came around.
Yeah, Bond gave her that.
Bond,
yeah.
So what about the blimp picking up Tracy? How does a blimp kidnap somebody? Like, I mean, seriously. Like, this is like, what were they thinking whenever they were writing that? Like,
she's just this. She's beautiful, but she is dumb as a box of rocks.
Yeah.
Like,
I think this is another one of those sequences, Jonathan, where they just had a blank space in the script, and they wrote Stacy gets kidnapped in parentheses, and then when they got to that part when trying to come up with ways to write it, they're like, ah, crap, they're already in the blimp. And then they,
like, well, of course they go to the Golden Gate. They're on the Golden Gate Bridge. Bond's holding on to the rope. They're on the bridge. Zoran gets out to use the axe. They have the final fight. And what about the Nazi doctor saying like, Max, Max, Max? And like, go ahead.
So let me just first of all say, I know I've mentioned it in the past on the pod, but I had this movie as a kid at my grandma's house. Like, this is one of the earliest memories of James Bond I have. I don't know if I watched this movie or not. A lot of this movie seemed really familiar to me, but I don't know if it's just like generic things happening in the movie that I'm like, okay, I could have memories of that. Yeah. But I distinctly remember Bond being on the Golden Gate Bridge with this woman. So like seeing them on the bridge, I really enjoyed that because it made me feel kind of like a kid. Like it's weird because it was like I wanted to see it. And like I don't know what it was for me. I really liked the whole scene. And as you were saying about the old Nazi dude being like, Max, Max, I'm just like, that dude's Max Pappy, dude. That's his daddy. Like,
yeah.
That's his son. Like,
okay.
He's upset.
Here's what I got from it. You remember how Jonathan was explaining how the MI6 crew looked like the nursing home went on a field trip? This is like they went on a field trip to the Golden Gate Bridge and got lost.
I told you to make a left at Alcatraz.
Of course, Bond does send the villain flying off into the water. And it's kind of, I'm gonna be straight with y'all. The death does not match the intensity that is needed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is Max Zorn. This is dude that literally was just gunning down his own men. He needs like a death that would like make his whole body blow up or something. Like,
well, I wanted Bond to take that axe and just start going to town.
Going to town on a boy.
Obviously, like we said earlier about the shotgun, we would have got an R-rated movie had that been the case. But but I'm with you. Like, I really wanted. I just, how Bond kicks the villain off the cliff and For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like,
yes.
Something really
personal.
Sure. So yeah, but now that's not to say, like, I don't mind his death.
Yeah.
Right. I just feel like you could have done more. You could have done more there.
Yeah. Agreed.
I mean, I just feel like he could still be alive. Like,
right.
Yes. Bond 26, like Christopher Walkin could just crawl out of the water. He's like, man, I've been under the water for a long time.
And of course, we get our final scene. Well, hold up. Before the final scene, we get our boy, General Gogol, who is, I mean, I don't know if I've really talked about this, but dude, General Gogol is like one of my favorite characters. Dude, I'm probably like the biggest fan of General Gogol, dude. Like,
man, I never noticed it until you pointed it out. I had no idea this guy was such a recurring character.
Yes, like he's in like a lot of these movies. Like,
yes,
and you can tell that he likes Bond. You know, that's what I like about him. Even though he's a Soviet, he's a communist. At the same time, he's not the crazy kind of communist. He doesn't want to blow the world up. He's right. Even though he's a KGB guy, at the same time, he wants to. He wants to make everybody happy in a way, and I just always liked the character.
He just wants to be able to handle his business and be left alone.
Exactly,
and he likes that Bond handles his business and likes to be left alone. Yeah. I think he really respects that, and I like that.
But yeah, like
there's even a part where he's sort of he gets on to Max for like when Max thinks that he's killed Bond. Like, you didn't ask for permission, pretty much.
Yeah.
To kill Bond.
Yeah, he looks mad about it, doesn't he? He's like,
he was pretty pissed. Like
he says something like you did not have permission to eliminate 007. Like, like it's just. But I mean, it's just funny saying that, because if you read the books, literally that's what the Russians are trying to do is kill
right,
James Bond. Like that's their job. Like, that's what they're doing. But anyway, Gogol brings the Order of Lenin, which is a Soviet medal, and I have no idea why I do not think about things like this, but I have a reproduction of that medal that I could have totally brought on here and showed y'all, but I didn't. And if I can, it's at one of my classrooms. If I can remember next week, I will get it and for next week's podcast just to show it. But
Jonathan, usually I'm fine with you forgetting stuff, but like I really would have liked to have seen that this podcast.
Yeah, me too.
That's really cool.
But I will bring it. I promise.
I cram it into the Living Daylights.
What?
I said we'll cram it in with the Living Daylights.
Well, I mean, the Living Daylights has a lot of Soviets in it anyway, so it'll fit right in. Actually, I have a lot of Soviet medals. I'm going to bring all of them, and we'll have a really quick little medal segment. Okay?
You have a Sony Walkman you can bring too?
I do not have that, but I wish
I'll have to pick one up this week.
I wish I did. But anyway, But yeah, we end the whole Roger. This is kind of a sad moment, guys. We end Roger Moore's whole run with him in a shower with a girl 30 years younger than him and talking about handing him. He's like, could you hand
drop the soap?
And she's like, she does something. And he says, that's not the soap.
How else could you end his run though?
I
You know what I mean? And like, as cheesy as this scene comes off, it's kind of perfect, ain't it? Like,
it is.
Doesn't it kind of sum up the Moore era with Q driving the robot around the house, and and then him sitting in the surveillance van, like that rapscallion or whatever, like just.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think the next movie, The Living Daylights, I think it still has quite a bit of Roger Moore-isms in it. Like to me, License to Kill is firmly a Timothy Dalton movie, but The Living Daylights could almost pass as a Roger Moore movie if it had, like, if you threw Roger Moore in there, he would gel right in with it, most of it at least.
I think that's a fair thing to say.
But go ahead.
Oh, it's not related, but I forgot when we were talking about the Golden Gate Bridge sequence. There's a part where Bond is hanging onto the rope, right? And they're trying to knock him off by running him into the bridge, and he wraps the rope around something to stall the blimp, and the pilot is giving it more fuel, more acceleration,
more power,
and
more power.
Yeah, dude,
more power,
dude. You know what I thought during that scene? More cowbell.
Yeah. He said, more power.
Yeah, more power.
I love it, dude. I love it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
So
I'm really glad you brought that up. Actually, that's like my favorite scene of Zorn.
So I would like to point out one thing in the scene you were talking about, Jonathan, and in the scene Caleb was talking about. In the scene Caleb's talking about at the Golden Gate Bridge, why is one side of the bridge not painted?
Hold on.
It was great.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I thought maybe they were in the middle of painting it. Well,
maybe.
Yeah,
really
that's what it looks like, because there are spots. Like, as I'm scrolling through this scene, it's like they were in the middle of painting it, and they were like, "Hey, you guys got to hold, like, just stop. I don't care. Well, it's not finished. That's whatever. We got to shoot this scene, because Roger Moore ain't getting no younger."
That being said, guys, I mean, Moore had a great run. You know, I mean, he really did, and it's Roger Moore is one of those guys. I used to complain about his series and his take on Bond, but I don't do that anymore. I really do love Moore's movies, man. They're awesome. And he was an awesome dude, man. You gotta love Roger Moore. And I mean, one thing I will say about Moore, he did play it really jokey, but guys, whenever Roger Moore would get whenever he had a cold moment, I mean, it would be cold. Yeah.
Whenever
get off the side of that mountain,
whenever the script presented an opportunity for him to be a cold Bond,
he could do it.
He pulled it off in spades.
Yeah, and it looked. I mean, it did it nicely. In Your Eyes Only is literally one of my favorite Bond movies. Period. Just the way he portrays it. And really, I think that might be his I don't know, maybe one of not just Roger Moore's portrayal, just any Bond. If you're talking about in terms of emotion, I think For Your Eyes Only does do that. Just the way that he was whenever he was with the Countess, what was it, Columbo's girlfriend, the girl that gets Liesel is who I'm talking about.
Liesel.
Remember?
Okay, is she the one that gets run over by the
The Doom
Doom
Buggy.
buggies on the beach?
Yeah,
I know what scene you're talking about.
yeah.
Like
Like it just seems.
Moore's acting in that scene where
Yeah.
he's like, man, there are layers to that performance.
Yeah.
Even like it's a case of like, dude, you didn't have to go that hard, but you did.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like well, that's one. I mean, and I know we're talking. I know the movie we're on this week is A View to a Kill, but I want to say this about For Your Eyes Only. I'm really just talking about more all in general right now. But man, just like that scene in general, man, just with Liesel, because that's not like one of the greatest loves of Bond's life. You know what I mean? But like at the same
Sure.
time, like you can tell that there is definitely some sort of like something there between them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah,
and
well-
like I don't know. Like what you said. He plays it really good.
If you're looking at it through the eyes of the character, like he's ready to die at any moment anyway. But some of these women he sleeps with, they're in dangerous situations and relationships. They don't think they're going to die,
Yeah.
and he has his passionate nights with them or whatever. And like you can really tell sometimes, like in the scene you're talking about, that it messes him up a little bit to know that like if he hadn't just made love and stayed there with her, she'd probably still be alive. But because of him, she died.
Yeah. So any last words you want to say on the Roger Moore era of Bond movies?
I'd just like to bring up the fact that, like, so Roger Moore surprised me. You guys know this.
me too. Me too.
Well, I'm glad he surprised both of us, Caleb. I think some great takes away from Roger's tenure as Bond is like how much he grew the character. I mean, like his relationship with Q, like Q's in the field with him for like half these movies, man. At the end of this movie, Q's in an RV like 100 yards away from the house he's in. And he's spying on him with a robot that we saw at the beginning of the movie. Like, it's just Q was not making jokes in the Sean Connery movie. He was serious.
Yeah.
But like he's cracking half the jokes in these Roger Moore movies and they're landing and it's great.
Yeah.
And you can tell everybody's just having a good time making these movies. And, I'll be damned. Roger Moore made me happy a lot. And I'm going to appreciate that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like of course my mom, she always liked Roger Moore. My wife, that's one of her favorite Bonds. And Dakota Franks, you remember him? Dakota?
Oh, Dakota, my boy Dakota.
Yeah, me and Dakota always liked Roger Moore. I got him into Bond like a long time ago. Him and Jake Smith. Remember him?
Oh, Jake Smith.
Yeah.
Jonathan's boy Jake Smith. We need to have Dakota on at some point.
Yes, I would actually like to have both of them on at some point.
That'd be cool with me.
I don't know who any of these
Dakota
people are.
would be good on here, dude, because Dakota knows a lot about Bond. Like
Caleb, you met Dakota at our Halloween party.
long hair.
He's the fellow that looked kind of like Robin Williams when he comes back in Jumanji.
You were exactly right. He does look like that, doesn't he?
Oh,
yeah, he kind of does.
that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he really is a great guy. One of the coolest dudes.
No, like all seriousness, I really love that guy.
Yeah, like not like Dakota. You know what I mean? Like
just a genuine person all around.
yes. Yeah, his mom, same way. Just a good family. Good family. But no, man. I can't say nothing bad about Roger. Now I will say this: the following movie, The Living Daylights, is one of my like top 3 Bond movies. Okay. Timothy Dalton's portrayal of James Bond here is, in my opinion, it's perfect. I love the way Dalton is in the next movie. So I really will not, I'll be straight with you. I don't think there's anything bad about The Living Daylights. I think it is a perfect film. You won't hear me probably talk bad or cringe at any moments in it because I can't say nothing bad about it. But I do look forward to hearing what you guys think, because if you guys find some moments that is lacking, you need to let me know, because I mean, I love it. Do y'all like The Living Daylights?
It is one of my favorite Bond movies of all time.
Okay.
It is, man, it might be top three.
So
It might be in my top three somewhere. Go ahead.
So whenever I watched The Living Daylights, it was actually one of the first Bond movies I ever saw, ever. It was whenever I was a kid, and we rented the movie from Video Corner, and like I had it, and like I remember like I don't know how long the rental was, but like I remember taking it back and forth to my mom and dad's house and watching it on different VCRs and stuff. Like I mean, I watched that rental several times.
Jonathan, what is this bill from Video Corner? It says we've had The Living Daylights for 8 months.
Well, dude, I was a little boy when this was going on, so this is before I knew how to do any of that.
Yeah.
I was a little man then. But anyway, yeah, the Living Daylights is it's one of my favorites, and it always pissed me off whenever I was a kid because whenever you were talking about Bond, and I love Sean Connery, that's my favorite Bond. But dude, when you talk about Bond to people, especially old people, they'd be like, yeah, I like Sean Connery and I liked Roger Moore. I ain't like those other guys talking about Lazenby and Timothy Dalton. And it pissed me.
I know exactly. Yes. I used to have the same reaction. It's like, man, okay, look, I like Sean, I like Roger Moore, and you guys know this, I watched The Living Daylights right after I finished A View to a Kill. And I'm going to do my best to explain it to you guys, but this is how I put it to my wife. It's like if they took Timothy Dalton's Bond and made a movie series based on him and his universe, I can see it being the Roger Moore series. Timothy Dalton is like the canonical James Bond. Like if you were to go in the novel,
yeah,
and like see this guy in the flesh, it would be Timothy Dalton. That's how I view it. And if you guys, you may not look at it that way, and that's fine.
Well,
but I think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I view him and Lazenby as the closest to the actual Fleming.
Yeah.
Characters.
Yeah. I agree with that. But now as far as the Moore era goes, just to sum it up, I mean, you don't watch these movies and think, okay, I'm fixing to watch a James Bond movie. You're fixing to watch a fun adventure movie.
Yes.
The main character just so happens to be named James Bond.
It's movies with very strong comedic overtones.
Sure.
Yeah.
Don't take it serious is basically what I'm saying. Colton, what are your thoughts?
I would just like to say that I was expecting to have a bad time with some of these movies, and for the most part, I've thoroughly enjoyed them. Like, I've enjoyed watching the Moore era films just as much as I enjoyed watching the Connery era of films with you boys. And I was rushing through these movies at first to get to Dalton because Timothy Dalton's Bond movie was one of the first Bond movies I watched all the way through. The Living Daylights, Jonathan came over to my house one night. It was me, and I asked Jonathan to bring his Bond movies over. He brought the whole collection. And Jonathan, me, my dog Ranger, and Dexter Tacker sat down. And we sat down on my couch, and we watched. Jonathan let me pick them out. And for some reason, I was looking through there. I was like, let's watch this one. Let's watch The Living Daylights. I've never seen this one. And, dude, I fell in love. We didn't even watch the whole movie. So I had to go back later and finish watching the movie. I loved it. From the first time I watched it. There's just something charismatic about Dalton's presence in a way that's different from Roger.
Yeah.
And both are great in their own ways. Like, they both deserve recognition. And I can't wait for next week. But also, like, it's not it's not that I'm trying to rush away from Roger either, because I've just loved this whole journey with you guys, and I'm excited as we go forward.
You guys may want to shoot me for saying this, and I can't believe it. I almost want to shoot myself for saying it, but dude, I've enjoyed Rogers movies more than I did Connery's.
I did too,
I'm sorry. Like that is a sin, dude. If like before we started doing this, before you guys invited me on, and I started rewatching and reevaluating these movies. If I had heard that, I would be like, well, okay, like your opinion is just worthless to me. And now here I am saying it. Like, it is what it is, man. Like, and that's not to say I think Sean Connery is a better Bond, but
Yeah.
I have had more fun watching Roger Moore's movies. So
I want to say this, and I think I might have mentioned it once or twice, but I want to just say this about this. Several of the Moore movies, well, 3 of them were part of John Glenn's era of Bond, and I've always really liked the John Glenn era. It started with For Your Eyes Only, and it ends with License to Kill. So he was pretty much the Bond director during the 1980s.
They were working him to death.
Yes, dude, he was. I love John Glenn. Like,
oh, I do too.
I did too.
Like, John Glenn is just, I don't know, he's awesome. And he on the DVDs and the Blu-rays, he like the deleted scenes, he'll be on there like talking to you about the deleted scenes, telling you like, but before you watch it, he'll be like, well, we were going to do this, but I left it out of the script, and then you would see it. Just interesting. Yeah, he's one of my favorite directors. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's hard to say anything about. I mean, you can't say anything bad about Martin Campbell, but at the same time, man, John Glenn, he had a lot of good ones. But anyway,
okay, it's funny you bring that up, because I was thinking about this the other night. I kind of put John Glenn's directing style and Martin Campbell's directing style like in the same category. Yeah. It's very similar.
Yeah, especially with GoldenEye. Like GoldenEye is, I think it's very John Glenn like. I mean,
yeah,
John Glenn like, you know.
It feels like it's a continuation to me.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I think he is by far the most prolific Bond director, right? He has done more than anybody. Right?
Who's that? John Glenn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he did what, 5 movies? And of course, Guy Hamilton, he did what, 4, and Terrence Young did 2, and what was the other guy?
Martin did 2, did he?
Who? Yeah, Martin did 2.
Did he?
Peter Hunt did 1.
Sam Mendes did 2. Should have just stuck to the 1, but
you're really not a fan of Spectre, are you?
Dude, I'm a fan of the first 3/4 of that movie. How about that?
Okay. But
so, I'd like to say something if it's okay. You guys are talking about enjoying. Oh, okay. So you guys are talking about.
Sorry.
It's okay. So you guys are talking about enjoying Rogers movies, maybe a little more. Having more fun watching Rogers movies than we did with Connery's movies. And this is not to put Roger down, but I will say that I think with these James Bond movies, like the plots, sometimes the plots are hard to read sometimes. And the way I would like to put it is that, like, in the Connery movies, the plot really matters.
Yes.
In the Moore movies, they don't matter as much. You're just along for the ride.
Here's how I would put it. In the Connery movies, the plot was more in the forefront.
Yeah.
And in the Roger Moore movies, most of the time, the overarching villain plot is sort of in the back seat the whole time. Yeah. I kind of made that point with The Spy Who Loved Me. A lot of people like to complain that movie has a weak villain, and I'll give you that. It does, but that's not what the movie is about. The movie is about Bond and Anya. Like, it's about their team. It's about their adventure. the plot is just a vehicle for them to have an adventure. Like, so, yeah.
No, you're right, Caleb. I couldn't have said it that well. You articulated that perfectly.
But now when you get to the Living Daylights, like I said, I watched that right. I mean, literally, I got done with A View to a Kill, and right as the credits started rolling, I was like, man, I'm so ready for the Living Daylights, and I went to it and started watching it, and I noticed while that movie is a little more narrative driven, I'll agree with what Jonathan said. You could take Timothy out of that and replace him with more, and it still kind of worked. So,
well,
yeah, that makes sense.
Guys, I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah, the whole last part of this podcast was just the Living Daylights discussion.
This is prequel to the Living Daylights.
Yeah.
Hey, well, we've already went over a lot of the movie here. We just
Let's go to License to Kill.
I want to tell you guys a secret. So I have watched the Living Daylights every 2 weeks since we started this podcast.
Are you serious?
Pretty much. Like,
so hold on. So when you text us the day before we do the podcast, guys, I haven't watched A View to a Kill yet, but you have watched The Living Daylights.
I watched The Living Daylights.
I will be walking through the house like I will have like, oh my God, I've got to watch this week's Bond movie. I come back here, get my Bond DVDs. I come over here. I'm like halfway through the movie. I'm like, where has everybody gone? Oh, this is the wrong movie. I've done it again.
Hey.
I'm sorry,
Man,
guys.
That's awesome. Well, all right. Any last words on this one and the whole Roger Moore era before we sign off?
I think I'm good, man. Thank
you,
Roger.
I want to end this with an apology to whoever. I guess Colton, because when we first started doing this, like, dude, just wait till we get to the Roger Moore movies. They're dog shit. I have come around full circle. I was so wrong. I guess I still had the same opinion as when I was a kid. I didn't like these movies as much. Dude, I like all these. Like, they're good movies. Like there are more good movies in the Moore era than there are bad. And I didn't realize that until I went back, rewatched, and reevaluated them. So that's what I'll end with.
Yep. Just great movies, good times. Great actor. Long live Roger Moore. And long live A View to a Kill. Anyway.
Mouth's opening wide.
More power.
More power.
More power.
More power.
You amuse me, Mr. Bond.
I love it. Anyway. Okay. If you made it this far, like, comment, subscribe. Probably didn't make it this far. You probably got tired halfway through. Anyway, we out. See you, Colton. See you, Caleb. More power.
More power.
Go, Joe.
Max.
Thank you for joining us for episode 14 of View to a Kill.